Rumble is here to stay. So, also, the glasses are here to stay. Hooray. Cheer for the glasses, chat. Hooray. Cheer for. Let's do a quick quality check. Twitch check. Let's check on YouTube. YouTube check. Check on Kick. Kick check. Check Rumble. Rumble check. Let's go. Move this over here. Bada bing, bada boom. Move this over here. Get the tunes going. I realized that the song stays in the Rumble VOD. That might become a problem, unfortunately. So I'm gonna lower the music a tad. And yeah, hopefully with the sound being a bit lower, we don't get absolutely shafted in the future. Some music restriction. A man can dream, chat. A man can dream. Song slaps. I gotta set up Discord notifications for the stream. So someone had a really good idea. And I haven't figured out how to integrate this into the stream yet, but I think that idea is gonna be a big help. First I'm gonna restart this, but the idea is basically that I should have a day where I do reactions, and I have like a ton of reaction or videos saved up to react to, but I haven't figured out a way of integrating it in, and I need to just start. And I think that's a great approach. Just pick a day where, for that day, that's going to be the bulk of the stream. So we're going to start doing that for Tuesdays. So we'll have reaction Tuesdays.
How we doing, Cat God?
And that's where we're going to start that off. What's up, Twitch, YouTube, Kick, Rumble, TikTok? We're back, man. And the tunes are back with us.
How we doing, me, myself? And
Lower this just a tad. Lower it just a tad. I saw
How we doing, Quaid?
The other day. Oh, you know what? Let's start off here. Let me react to Trump's 250. It's long as hell. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I can't stomach that much nonsense for that long. But we'll find it. Trump 250. This is from my Rumble folks too. Somebody disliked my Rumble post. I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, guys, it can't upset you that much.
Check this out.
But of course it can, right? I'm feeling good about Resident Evil 4, so we might keep that up for a while. Cash, what's up, brother? Appreciate the likes, man. Keep them coming. We got to get out of TikTok jail.
Reacting to
Trump.
How we doing, Finn Loger?
The Emperor himself.
How we doing, Kyler?
Filters, color correction. Really bring down this here.
How we doing, Nightwing Beta?
It's not bad.
How we doing? They killed Kenny.
What's up, Pajama? Not much, brother. We're back at it. We're gonna see what Trump had to say. I have some guesses. Oh God,
How we
it's
doing
crazy because
Jabari?
people will see this and they'll absolutely eat it up. They're like, "Yes, bro, like talk that talk, you crazy man." They like
How we
relish
doing
in it.
Peyton V? She hates Peyton, says Trump speech. How we
I
doing James
already got
4?
restricted. I didn't even do anything. What the fuck? What? Yeah.
How we she hates Peyton, says all good cause I am here.
Bro, the stream just started. Nah, TikTok. Nah, bro. This is egregious. What
L
the
says it's cause
fuck?
Zikok doesn't want the hate.
Dude, come on, man.
How we doing Tori? Digital marketing.
Nah, y'all are crazy. Chat. At some point, you just gotta laugh at it. Oh my god. They said live visibility restricted. I swear they're just looking for any reason. Live visibility is not, or your live is not eligible for recommendation and restricted in search results because it contains unoriginal or reproduced content. This is in line. Oh, so I can appeal this one, but I couldn't appeal
L
the other
says it's
one.
cause you're talking bad on their legend.
Oh my god. First of all, it's not unoriginal if I'm giving commentary, and I haven't even played the fucking video. I haven't
L
even
says I am a
played the
big Trump
video.
hater, so it's all good.
I haven't even played the video, bro. This is crazy, man. Whatever. We expect as much. I'm gonna lower the music and let's get after it. The insanity.
How we doing Spice God Dizzy? L says I don't know how he got a second term.
As second term, because the vast majority of the American population, if not all the American population, has been conditioned and primed for centuries to hold these prejudices that he leaned on. And he did the age old politician shtick of making promises to the working class and then reneging on those promises. And when called out for it, he blames the groups, the out groups, the terrible other, the immigrants, the blacks, the gays, the
L says
Jews, the
so basic
Muslims,
way of
yada
saying
yada.
is that he tricked the people.
Yeah, he tricked the people. Most of the politicians tricked the people. Anyway, TikTok jail resumes, dude. I didn't even get a chance. All right, let's do it.
Good evening, America. If you think that was easy,
I think this is a condensed version. It's like 38 minutes, but we're not gonna watch the whole thing.
it
Probably
wasn't.
we'll see.
And I want to thank everybody because they did the right thing. They saw lightning, and I said, "There's no way
L
if we
says I
have to
already want
speak
to say shut
in
up to
front of
this
one
guy.
person at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be here. There's no way we can be deterred." And they estimated they had 375,000 people before everybody. Don't worry about it, sir. We can do it maybe next week. I said it does justice or achieved more greatness than you. Flag, that's the banner of the most extraordinary, most exceptional, most incredible nation ever to exist on the face of the earth. And we're
Because I try to take an educational framework to these things, let's point out some of the things he's leaned on. If you've been following the channel for a little bit now, I've mentioned a lot of these. The one he's leaning on here is American exceptionalism. What is that? It's this
L
idea
says
that
Epstein, best friend, by
America
the way.
is exceptional in the global, just in history, right? This idea that America is the best to ever do
How we
anything
doing
under the sun.
LBCRS?
And people might hear this and think, what's the problem? Like most nations say they're the best. It's different when you're the global empire. It sort of gives you clearance to kind of do whatever you want because it insinuates you know better, you know best, and such a
L says
disposition
Trump for impeached.
with that kind of power, uh, again, gives the rulers of the nation, and causes the people to sort of co-sign whatever it is the ruling class does, and it makes it easier for the ruling class to wield their power in um, or without any sort of accountability to the people of the country or the world.
50th anniversary of the
And it like breeds hubris. It breeds arrogance.
Declaration of
L
Independence.
says shout out
Nothing
Ireland.
like it. For 2.5 centuries, our American republic has stood as the crowning achievement of human history. This country is the home of freedom. This is the
And of course, American exceptionalism also is a sort of um, manifestation of nationalism, right? Most ruling classes
How we
in these
doing
various
vodka?
nations lean into that. The purpose of nationalism, as I've stated before, is to uh, create a kind of binding mythos within the populace, breathe a sense of group identity and group pride as to make it easier for the ruling class to get the populace to support um, any manner of things that they want them to support as long as they lean on to nationalism. You're doing this for your country. You're doing this for the betterment of the country, blah, 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 blah. Rarely is it ever for the betterment of the country. It's usually for the betterment of the ruling class.
land of liberty, and this is a flag that's the banner of the most extraordinary, most exceptional, most incredible nation ever to exist on the face of the earth, and we're doing better now than we've ever done before.
Are you single? Maybe you're divorced.
So that's false. And I don't know how much it matters to point out Trump lying because we've all just accepted that as an inevitability, and to a degree where folks won't even point out the lies. But yeah, no, the United States is objectively not doing better than it was before. Trump and conservatives, taking their cue from Trump, will usually point to the stock market as the signifier of American success. Why is this not the case? The vast majority of Americans do not participate in the stock market. Even the working class ones that do not hold the same position as the oligarchs, as the ruling class, as the billionaire class. And so the stock market doing well is not an indicator of your average American doing well. The stock market doing well is an indicator of the ruling class doing well, of the economic and political elite doing well.
L says like how
And
Trump lied about those rape
it's
charges.
it's kind of obvious that um, America is not doing the best it's ever done because so many people can't afford simple commodities from groceries to fuel and everything else.
No people have done more good, shown more courage, made more progress, righted more injustice, or achieved more greatness than you, the American people. For two
Okay, pause there. That's not
L says I
entirely a
can't take
lie.
him serious.
The American people have achieved a great deal of justice from the American oligarchs, right? Like who are they achieving this justice from? It's not from like some other nation trying to attack us. It's from the American oligarchs. The American people have resisted the tyranny of the American ruling class since the inception of the country, from Shays Rebellion to John Brown to the civil rights movement to women's suffrage. These are not in chronological order, but to the Pride movement, to just all these movements that work to make America what we say we are, right? This land of the free, home of the brave, the promise that uh, promises liberty and justice for all. There have been countless people working to make that a reality. Trump is not one of these people. Trump is the oligarch. He's quite the opposite. But it's not entirely untrue that American people have strived and fought for freedom. We are not there. We are not in the place where we've achieved the promise of liberty and justice for all. Obviously, we have concentration camps. There's a great deal of inequity and inequality. The ruling class have left the stratosphere in terms of their wealth
How
and
we
their
doing,
power
Cash
and
Boy?
control of everyday life. So we're seemingly getting further and further away from that promise. But it is true that the American people have fought. I'm not sure like no other. I mean, tons of people have fought for their freedom. I mean, like Haiti is one example. They were enslaved and they fought a rebellion to gain their freedom. Um, that is a different situation than like the American Revolution, right? The founding fathers, those American or those colonial elites were not enslaved by any measure. And so
L says Eber.
there are certainly other groups who've also strived
How we
greatly for
doing, Cash
freedom,
Boy?
and Americans are one of them.
250 years, the United States of America has been the hope, the promise, the light,
How we
and the
doing,
glory
Jamala?
among all of the nations of the world. All over the world, they try and be like us. Nobody can be like us. And with God's help, we will always be this or even better. We're going to be better. Here are
Again, leaning into nationalism, leaning into American exceptionalism, and all these people have been primed their whole lives to feel a sense of joy and pride when these things are invoked. And so there you have it.
in our national mall. We're celebrating freedom's triumph over tyranny, liberty's conquest over oppression, and the enduring victory of the American spirit from the July 4th, 1776 to July 4th.
So the hypocrisy is clear, right? He's speaking against oppression and tyranny while enacting oppression and tyranny, trying to silence anyone who speaks against him, imprisoning protesters, designating them as terrorists to have a legal justification to imprison them. The Trump administration just sentenced people protesting ICE to anywhere from 30 to 100 years in prison, manipulating the media ecosystem, especially amongst his supporters, to
L says Spice Flow State Part 2.
justify this tyranny and this oppression. And so the hypocrisy is clear, but it's not clear for everyone. There are a great deal of people, my folks on Rumble there, who believe every word that comes out of this man's mouth, and who have fallen too deeply into the victimization of white supremacy and the victimization of American exceptionalism, so such that they are unable to see all the ways that right now it's the outgroup who is facing the brunt of this oppressive and tyrannical force. But it never stays there. It never ends with the outgroup. History tells us this. It always comes inward. We want to talk about Nazi Germany because we're reflecting them too closely. Hitler turned his guns on his own people when he declared total war. Those who did not support total war were killed. Every fascist movement, every authoritarian movement also oppresses their people. And not for nothing, those that the conservative white majority might consider the outgroup, if you consider anyone in this country as the outgroup, you're un-American, right? America, as I've said before, is a promise of liberty and justice for all. If you are someone who considers yourself an American and you do not believe in liberty and justice for all, you do not embody the responsibility that it is your duty to bring forth liberty and justice for all, to make it actualize in this country, you're un-American. You might call yourself an American, you might don the flag and bastardize its meaning, but you're un-American at from a principle stance. America is a promise about liberty and justice for all. And if you do not believe in liberty and justice for all, if you believe in liberty and justice for some, you're un-American.
2026. Big dates. That's big dates. Two big ones. And tonight our country is stronger, freer, richer, safer, and prouder than ever before.
We're not safer than ever before. The ruling class are richer than ever before. Working class Americans are relatively poor than ever before. And we're certainly not safer than ever before because the ruling class are creating a surveillance state to be able to more closely monitor and control the population. The federal government has turned their guns on the American people, and people are being rounded up in the streets. So objectively not safer than ever before.
But it all started with the miracle of history that lives forever in the heart of every single patriot. In Philadelphia, our founding fathers summoned the courage of giants and the wisdom of centuries to boldly proclaim these timeless truths.
This is getting back into the American mythos, this idea that the founding fathers were these kind of holier than thou, impeccable of character figures who, when we find ourselves lost, we should turn to their wisdom. Think what the founding fathers have done. They were just human beings. They were elites of their time. They owned plantations, they owned merchant industries and things of that nature. And because of the wealth that they wielded, they were able to have this unequal political influence. And the very reason that they sought independence from Great Britain was to protect their wealth. And, you can discern this from this whole no taxation without representation. They didn't want to be taxed. The average person in the colony, that wasn't an issue for them. And we know that the entire thing was a hoax because they promised liberty and justice for all, and they didn't give everyone liberty or justice. Not the enslaved people, not the indigenous people, not even the white peasants. So
they declared that all men are created equal.
They declared that everyone was created equal and did not live by it. Again, the hypocrisy. A ton of people reject this reality because it doesn't fit nicely into the American mythos they've been indoctrinated into their entire lives, but it is the reality. I don't hate America. I believe in liberty and justice for all. I love that this is a country that promised that, and I want to make that a reality. I know that that is my duty to do so, but I don't need to fool myself into believing myths and fairy tales to do that. I don't need to fool myself into believing myths and fairy tales to have a love for this country, this land, and wanting to make it the best it can be. I don't need to fool myself. I don't need to lie to myself. I choose reality, no matter how bleak.
That they are endowed with sacred, unalienable rights by the hand of our Creator.
A nice lean into Christian nationalism there. Right. The right has gone full tilt into Christian nationalism and, of course, white supremacy.
And that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In signing their names to the roster of freedom, those 56 patriots put everything at risk, stepped onto the stage of destiny, and seized a victory for the ages, and that's what it was. And this is an evening for the ages, I believe. This is something very special. This is bigger than if we didn't have the lightning blaring. We had lightning blaring, but this is bigger. Little more inconvenient, but it's bigger. I think in its own way, it's more beautiful. From the beginning, we were a nation that lived by the motto, victory or death, and live free or die. 1 out of every 100 Americans gave their lives in the fight for independence to remind us of who these heroes were and what they gave us. We are honored to have here tonight in the heart of our nation's capital one of the very first American flags ever to exist, dating back to 1777. It bears the 13 stars and 13 stripes of the 13 states that declared independence on the 4th of July.
Stop calling me. You sound like a...
Guys, I'm going to restart it in order to try and fight the algorithm. I'll be right back. Guys, if you're confused when I say that, TikTok bans me regularly. It's so silly, man. It's actually not silly. It's an exercise of authoritarian power and control over the media ecosystem. Authoritarian control over the media ecosystem. And there's nothing to laugh about, but it is a bit silly. Anywho, let us continue. Oh, sound is
It was
off.
the flag that flew victorious at Saratoga. And these are the real deals, too. These are the real flags. These are flags that have seen a lot. These were the stars and stripes that flew triumphant when the British waved the white flag of surrender at Yorktown. That was a big surrender. Nobody thought that was possible. They were the greatest power of the world, and they surrendered, and that was the beginning. Ever since, the entire world has been on notice that Americans will never let anyone take our freedom away. Won't happen. And all these talks from the communists, they haven't got a chance.
I really hope that that's right. I think, like I said, the American I made a post not too long ago that said no more rebels because the American population has been made extremely docile. Restricted again, bro. It's just not the case that you can't, and it happened like 30 seconds into the stream. It's just not the case that you can't react to things on TikTok. They're just like, somebody's monitoring me at this point. Someone is monitoring me.
How we doing? Can't let
This
my
is
friends
insane.
know.
Anyway, Americans are extremely docile. We've been raised
How we
to
doing, JJ?
obey authority. Everyone knows this is true. Whether you're conservative, liberal, alt-right, or someone who considers yourself a leftist, you know Americans have been conditioned to obey authority. Okay? You can't be in a position to resist a tyrannical government or an authoritarian government if your whole life you've in so many ways been told to obey authority. And we see it right now. The thing about American conservatism, though, is they will disobey authority if that authority is outside of the narrow scope of their concept of freedom. And this concept of freedom is not something that is that comes from within, but rather it comes from without. It comes from the messages that they've received from the top down. They don't think about it this way because it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere. But the people with the power to control the sort of national mythos and national narrative are the ones at the top, and they dole that out to everyone else at the bottom. And there's this kind of core American mythos that is centered around nationalism, white nationalism, capitalism, and bootstrap narratives, individualism. And it all works to distance the working class from their salvation, from their freedom. Because if you believe in a system that is innately exploitative, which capitalism is, if you believe that by just working hard enough, You can achieve what these people who have inherited their wealth, who were born into a socioeconomic position as to inherit a great deal of capital. If you believe that working hard enough will get you there, you have a fundamental misunderstanding of how the system operates. But the narrative, the kind of national narrative, is that you can kind of pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and it's a romantic kind of tale. It's almost kind of hopeful, but it's a lie. It's a lie. The data doesn't back it. Are there exceptions? Sure, but we're not looking at exceptions. We're looking at the average. We're looking at the rule. And the fact of the matter is, you cannot work yourself up to being a billionaire. You cannot work yourself up to being in one of the oligarchs. Is there some economic mobility? Sure, there's some economic mobility, but it's very little. It's certainly not anywhere close to how we talk about it. And if you want that to be the case, you should work to create a country with policies that makes that possible, instead of lying to yourself that you're already there, that you already exist in that situation. Because the former, where you're lying to yourself to believe that you already are in that situation, makes sure that you never get there. So you need to realize the reality so you can get to the thing that you want so badly, which is this country where someone can work themselves up. Because that's not the country we live in. And you lying to yourself or accepting the lies from the top, that is the case, doesn't help you at all.
Not even a chance. We don't
Appreciate your
want
likes, man.
communists in our country.
Okay, let's address the Red Scare, because we're back in a Red Scare-like moment. So what was the Red Scare all about? First, let's talk about how the American ruling class discusses it or talks about it and doles it out to the rest of the population. The Red Scare, from the perspective of the American mythology, is this idea that there are these evil, authoritarian, Hitlerian figures who are working to take over the world and oppress everyone, and they're just generally bad guys, and we need to stop them because we're the good guys. That's like the gist of it. Here's what they don't tell you. Governments are not moral actors. All governments have a capacity for authoritarianism, for totalitarianism. The reason the US resists communism so vehemently is not because of some moral objection to communism. How do we know it's not some moral objection, though this is what we claim? Well, let's look at all the things that we say are the result of communism. People going without food, people living under brutal dictatorships, oppressive governments. Okay, well, we know that claim isn't true, because if we look at the United States, even during the Red Scare, a great deal of the population was living under brutal government, a brutal authoritarian government. If you were poor, if you were someone in a minority group, be a citizen or not citizen, this was your reality. So, okay, that's a major contradiction. So that's not the case. And it's not because they're trying to take over the world, because we're trying to take over the world. In fact, we're probably the most successful in doing that. So that's not the case. So then what is it? It's because capitalism needs to expand its markets to continue this model of infinite growth, right? You cannot simply stop capitalism at your borders. You need to expand outside of borders. You need to expand internationally. And as we know, American corporations have certainly done so. But you can't expand into a market if that economic system is communist. You can't expand there. And so communism serves as a blockade for capital expansion. It serves as a blockade for American capitalism. That's why the ruling class of America hates communism, because it limits their earning potential. It limits their acquisition of capital and wealth and power. That is the reason. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Forget all the myths. Forget all the fairy tales. Forget all the nonsense. That's it.
Never worked, and it never will work. America.
Communism, we've never seen it in practice. And some of this is to do with the U.S. and some of it is to do with the people who have called themselves champions of communism being bad faith actors. But the U.S. has attacked and sought to destabilize and wage economic warfare against any country that tries communism. Why? Because we don't want other countries to see that this works. We don't want other countries to see that this works. If other countries see that this works and decides to take on that economic model, we're screwed because our corporations won't have markets to expand into. Right? That's why we want this quote unquote free market. The market is not free. The market is dominated by the United States. It's like you're playing Monopoly and somebody gets like 50 turns before you go and they're like, all right, come on, now you can play. They're going to have greater control of the game. And that's the kind of free market that the U.S. advocates for, because the U.S. and other Western nations, but not to the degree of the U.S., especially after World War II, when we became the global empire, our financial instruments, our technology as it relates to commerce, and just our control of capital, the natural resources that we have access to, and our ability through technology to cultivate those resources far surpasses a great deal of our competition. And so in such a context, participating in a quote unquote free market with the United States is a trap. It's a trap. We will dominate you because of our position. And so it's not in these other countries' interests to do such a thing. And we know that, but we want them to participate so we can go into their markets and sell stuff, and our corporations and our oligarchs and capital elites can make more money.
Americans must never forget that we are a historic and heroic people with a heroic spirit and a heroic purpose.
Also, I'm not saying this as to demonize the United States. In a context where there's no judge, where there's no person who makes the rules, and all actors are left to their own devices in this sort of game theory like setting. This is what nations are going to do. This is what governments are going to do. The U.S. just happens to be in the more advantageous position. Any other government would do something like this.
This beautiful earth of ours, we are made the courage and the fire and the flesh and the blood of the best and the bravest people this world has ever produced. We are the bravest and the best. Tonight we pledge allegiance to the flag they gave us, and we say, God bless the immortal patriots of 1776, and long live the cause of independence. May it reign forever and ever and ever. We will always be on top. We will never let our country fall. We will always be the best. Our founders not only won our liberty, they secured it with the most righteous political document ever conceived. It's called the Constitution of the United States. Very special. And it's because of their genius that we remain the finest people on the planet after.
Take note of the pan to the black people. The black people are in the great majority in this crowd, but they are highlighted as to paint this picture of this coalition being diverse, or to speak against any claims that this is a white supremacist, white nationalist movement. So that's why the pan into like the maybe 10 black people in this crowd.
After 250 years, unlike so many others in the world, in this country, we have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, equal justice under the law, although I wasn't treated that well, but we won't get it.
That is such a big baby. Yeah, ideally we'd have freedom of speech. Our Trump tries to suppress speech all the time. Again, the hypocrisy is definite. Freedom of religion, again, ideally, but they push Christian nationalism. So they don't actually want this is what I mean, guys. Like, you either want the things that you think America should be in terms of being a place of freedom for all, or you don't. And just fucking say that. Stop the bullshit and just say it. Grow some fucking balls and like say it with your chest. You don't want freedom of religion. You want everyone to be Christians. This is why you're putting the Bible in public schools.
How we doing?
This is why you're trying to get rid of the separation of church and state. There's I don't even know who this guy's name is, but some religious figure. He's in the Oval Office and he's calling into question the separation of church and state. So you either believe in the things that serve as the pillar of America, or you fucking don't. Or you don't. You either believe that we have freedom of religion and Muslim people should be able to pray just like Christian people should be able to, or you fucking don't. In which case you're un-American. And so many of you who grab the American flag and wave it around and wipe your ass with it, you don't believe in the very pillars of America. Though you don yourself with the flag, as to discourage any notions that you're un-American, because you are. That's why you're so kind of forceful about it. It's like the kid who who's like scared to do something, but is like hyping themselves up as though they're the best to ever do it, but really they suck at it and they're completely shook and afraid. But they're boastful as to kind of get people off of their tail. That's how most of you conservatives are. You rock the American flag every fucking place you can, but you don't believe in the very pillars of America. You don't believe in freedom of religion. You don't believe in freedom of speech. You want people to say the fucking things you want to hear. You don't believe in liberty and justice for all. You're supporting people getting rounded up, treating them as though they're subhuman, referring to them as illegal aliens. You don't want people to have freedom of their bodies. You want the government to control it. You don't want people to be able to express themselves as they see fit. You want them to fit into this narrow scope of what you think exists in terms of gender. Like, you don't want freedom. You don't want freedom. You don't want freedom. You want the things that make you feel good. At least that's what the policies that y'all are supporting are showing. So you either want all the things that America says it stands for, or you fucking don't. Or you don't. I go on Rumble and there's so many of these pages where all these crackpots are going off about America being this like Christian nation. It's like, okay, well, there you go. You're un-American, brother. You're un-American. I don't know what to tell you, because the fact of the matter is it's not. It's not. Nor is it supposed to be. Because then there wouldn't be separation of church and state or freedom of religion, would there? Would there? So do you believe in that or do you not? A lot of you don't. I at least have respect for the ones who just come out and fucking say it. They're not cowards. They're not charlatans. They're not bad faith actors. At least they believe the horrible things they say. The rest of you, I don't know what to say about you. because you're cowardly. Come out and say it. Come out and say it. You don't believe in freedom of religion. You don't believe in separation of church and state. You don't believe in freedom of speech. You don't believe in all the things that serve as the pillar of the nation. Or you can be a fucking coward and tuck your tail between your legs and go on spewing all kinds of bullshit and believing in whatever fucking myths you want.
Into that. And the right to keep and bear arms. And for the almost 6 years that I was president, I guarded very, very powerfully your Second Amendment, and they didn't do a thing to it, and it was not easy. But we guard your Second Amendment. We guard it very, very strongly and cautiously.
Yeah, this is the case. Selectively. There's a recent story where some white guys shot at a group of people, mostly black. These two black guys returned fire. One of the white guys was killed. This was a stand your ground state. The judge said they couldn't invoke stand your ground. So they're not protecting quote unquote gun rights for everyone. There are a great deal of white supremacists who hold power in the American governmental system, and they exercise that power on racial fault lines.
Across the generations, Americans have...
Now, that can fucking hurt your feelings, and you can reject reality, or you can like grow the fuck up and think about that and what it entails for this thing you say you believe in.
Fought, bled, and died, not just to secure those rights, but to expand them to citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed, because we are one people. We are one family. You showed that tonight with one flag. And as our Declaration of Independence tells us, we are all made in the image of one Almighty God.
I'm not even gonna, like, I've already spoken to the contradictions in terms of rhetoric and action. We'll move on.
And a communist will never say that. That's for sure. Few heroes remind us of these truths more than William Carney, who escaped slavery to become a Union soldier in the Civil War, which was a very big deal at the time. On the front lines of battle, he saw a comrade struck down by enemy fire while carrying the Stars and Stripes, and Sergeant Carney dove to the ground to keep the flag from touching the mud. He didn't want to have it touch the ground. He didn't want to have it touch the mud. He wanted it to be perfect. He raised it high above the field and was shot 4 times. They thought he was gone, but he kept moving forward. He loved our country. He loved our flag. Before he returned to camp and announced, "Boys, the old flag never touched the ground."
L says mods ban Trump.
And he became the first African-American to receive the Congressional Medal of Honor. He got the Congressional Medal of Honor, and he was the first African-American, and he was some man.
Okay. Yeah, it's just contradiction after. This is what I'm saying. Like, conservatives are so fucking confused, bro. They're so confused. Like, it's like they just like mentally run away from anything that makes them feel uncomfortable. It's actually so infuriating because, like, and like, let's be honest, white supremacist ideology infantilizes you because it tells you this fairy tale that you're some special little fucking flower and like you did all. But not you, your ancestors that had no collective sense of white identity because that didn't fucking exist. But, and they were like murdering each other in Europe 24/7 and had no sense of connection to one another. But that's besides the point because that's reality and we don't fuck with that. Somehow you're some special little flower. You did all the best things ever. And that's great. And these fucking
talking about GTA
these these other people better fall in line. And at the same time, I believe in like freedom, but I actually really support the Confederacy.
How we doing,
Oh
DJ
my
Jams?
God. Like, do you believe in freedom or not? Because the Confederacy certainly did not believe in freedom, but like y'all stay rocking like the Confederate flags left and right. Like, but it's my history. It's my history. They were traitors. They were traitors. They were literal
How we
traitors.
doing? Username.
They were traitors who didn't believe in the very pillars of America. But you're like, no, 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 no. I'm like the most American person ever. And I also support the people who wanted to see his demise. Oh, God, man. And how am I supposed to take you seriously? How is anyone supposed to take you seriously? You don't take you seriously enough to at least have some um some consistency in your beliefs. I mean, come on. To be informed in your beliefs, in your opinions. Come on. Grow up. Let's go. Let's go. We're falling into fascism because y'all don't want to put your big boy pants on. You want to keep believing the bedtime stories. Come on. We don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. The orange man is not your messiah. Okay? Relax. Let go of the bedtime stories. Pick up a book that talks about history and not the fucking fairy tales. No matter how uncomfortable it is, but no, we won't do that. No, no, no. In fact, we ban the books. We ban the books. We don't want the children to learn about all the fucked up things that the early Americans did because that makes us feel bad, and that's gonna make the children feel bad. Ugh, like, and y'all are crying about this person's feelings, and these people only care about their feelings. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Come on. Grow up. You'll be okay. Your feelings will be all right. You'll be okay.
Written stories about him. He was something special. With us tonight to celebrate.
Why is this child molester the president of the USA?
Freedom is another Medal of Honor
Indeed.
recipient. Colonel Paris Davis, whose courage
Why
won
indeed?
eternal
Why is he
glory in
protecting the
Vietnam.
other child molesters
He helped lead a
by
surprise
redacting all of their
attack
names
on
and not
100
releasing the file
enemy
and not
combatants.
releasing it in
He said
any
it was
sensible
finished.
order?
His whole group was finished. And despite multiple
All right, let's talk about the military because I hate seeing this shit. So they're going to parade this guy on stage, okay? Because, we love to point to the military as a sense of pride and all that stuff. I have a
He's
great deal of
protecting them since
respect.
he is a child rapist.
I have a great deal of respect for the people who will go out there and try to defend, at least in their minds, this nation. A lot of the wars America have fought have been to defend capital,
I respect them, not
um,
Trump.
to defend
Jax.
the financial interests of the American ruling class. And a great deal of the people who went out there were poor Americans, working class Americans, who most of their lives go without. And the military, being a very socialist-like institution that provides for your basic needs, was a tantalizing offer. Okay. When they come back from these conflicts that we send them into to protect American capital, we forget about them. Once in a while, we might parade them around to continue
How
jostling
we doing, Muhammad?
nationalist
Trump doesn't give a shit. He's
sentiments.
a rich racist child molester who makes money.
We don't care about the people who go out there and risk their lives. Just look at any veteran. We don't give them mental health services. We don't make sure they are financially sound, that they have a supportive and loving community around them consistently, right? And that they're financially taken care of. I don't have to tell you that. Everyone
Trump
fucking
doesn't
knows
give a
this.
fuck about
But
them.
again, you can deny reality because it doesn't make you feel good, because it's incongruous with the other beliefs that you hold, that contradicts the other beliefs that you hold, or you can reconcile your beliefs and stop believing batshit crazy things. Trump doesn't care about the veterans. None of the U.S. ruling class care about the veterans. They use them as pawns. That is not an indictment on the people who risk their lives in war.
He is
That
a
is an
cocksucking
indictment
bitch.
on the
Sorry for
ruling
my
class.
profanity.
Yeah, L, chill, 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 chill.
Life-threatening wounds saved the lives of his fellow soldiers. And this evening he stands to salute the only flag of its kind, the one that was draped over the casket of President Abraham Lincoln in Independence Hall. Thank you very much.
My bad, I just don't like that guy.
I get it.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
Respect, sir. Respect.
Respect, sir, thank you.
He looks better than I do. He looks great, and he's brave. Because of heroes like these, our flag will always be a symbol of liberty and justice for all. Colonel Davis, thank you very much. Great man. Great man, thank you. Americans expanded the blessings of freedom, and we have never stopped expanding our ambitions and our dreams. We had the American dream. We never had the American dream, however, like we have it right now. The American dream is back, very strong, beautiful.
It's not. It's not. Guys, you can't buy a fucking house, man. You can't buy a house. The price
tell
of
Trump
higher
doesn't give a fuck.
education. The price of higher education is through the roof. The price of everyday commodities through the roof. The price of housing through the roof. Wages haven't gone up in 80 odd years. The rich continue to get richer, coalesce their power,
Trump cares when it affects his money.
more aggressively dominate the political agenda. So, I mean, come on, come on. And, this might not be the case for all of you watching. Some of you might be well off and unable to see outside of your own personal experience, and think because you might be living this affluent or well off life, that means all the things that he's saying in here are true. But that's fucking selfish and self-centered. That's not the case for everyone else. So again, we can grow up and look at reality for what it is, or we can continue to believe in myths because they make us feel good and they confirm our biases, and the country will go to shit and we'll fall into fascism and we can all fucking rive in our fucking early graves. Or we can actually take up the
The term growing up
responsibility
doesn't exist for
of
Trump.
we can take up the responsibility of making this country live up to the promise of liberty and justice for all, which is the duty of every person in its borders. To me, it's a simple choice.
To get into our military now is tough. 2 years ago, we couldn't fill a job, and now it's overflowing. We have so many setting records. We're setting records. It's actually hard to get in. That includes our great police forces and our firemen. They couldn't hire anybody. Nobody wanted to do it.
I have a buddy who recently became a fireman. He's wanted to ever since high school, and I'm super happy for him. Shout out Jay Crawford, cool guy, man, and he served. So you'll notice that
Can this motherfucker tell truth?
you'll notice that people never talk shit about firefighters because they only help people. Police, on the other hand, not the case. Not the case. But we won't get into all the ways that police exist to protect capital and are a tool for the oppressive arm of the rich and powerful. you're either someone who is willing to look at reality even if it's uncomfortable, or you're not. I feel like that's really what it comes down to. I feel like that's what it comes down to is, are you willing to look at reality even if it's uncomfortable, or would you rather deny reality to protect your comfort? I think that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. And to tell you the truth, the former, rejecting reality to protect your comfort, is fucking weak. It's weak.
Now, it's hard to get those positions, but it's really hard to get into our military because people respect and love our country again. Our rise to being the world's strongest and most powerful nation was no accident of history. We rebuilt.
Yeah, from us supporting, aiding, and abetting genocide, disrespecting people in the international community who come here to engage in a friendly game of soccer, football, starting wars to protect our, not even protect, to increase our imperial dominance. This simply isn't the case, but that's neither here
All
nor
I
there.
will say is Trump impeached for 2028.
BRB.
Spice has to grab his Zion jersey. He will be back.
Our military in my first term. We use it a little bit in our, actually I should say third term, but I won't do that because I don't want any controversy. But we use it, and we've had tremendous success. You look at Venezuela, you look at
How we doing,
Iran, we wiped it out.
When he says, I don't want any controversy, because of the moment here, just 250th anniversary of the country. This is why his rhetoric is so what's the word I'm looking for? Tamed. The significance of this moment is why his rhetoric is so tamed. This is why he's sort of turned over a new leaf. Suddenly, it's all about unity and being a family and all this and all that. Because people will in the future find this speech and they can say, "See, he's like talking about the country being together," and this is a stark departure from his usual divisive, inflammatory rhetoric. But the reason it's not divisive and inflammatory is because of the moment.
Wiped out their military. Americans crossed the Great Plains, scaled the Rockies, we just tamed the wilderness and conquered the frontier and built the empire. It's called the Empire of Liberty. We laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, those beautiful skyscrapers.
Now we're explicitly invoking empire. It's a slow burn, but we'll get there.
And dug out the Panama Canal, considered the eighth.
Those who are hell bent on being nut jobs will reject that as well.
Impossible thing to do. And by the way, 38,000 Americans died to give us one of the greatest engineering feats of all time, the Panama Canal. This was the unstoppable spirit that created the world's most powerful industries and built the strongest military anyone had ever seen. And today it is stronger and more powerful than it ever was before. American grit, boldness, and daring forged heroes like Davy Crockett, Wyatt Earp, and
All right. I only have so much stomach for this stuff, man. Okay, well, that was enough. That was good enough. Just to make this its own thing, I'm
I
going
hope
to
he
end
gets
the
impeached.
stream. Just to make this his own thing, I'm going to end the stream and start a new one. So, catch you guys in a little bit.